Hello and welcome to Rainy Day Crafting. Okay, today I'm going to be making some bookmarkers. So not actually a card today, but I've got these three. I don't very often buy sort of three in the same set or whatever, but I think they are seriously cute. So I bought these last year sometime. I've used them a little bit, but not an awful lot. But what we're going to do today, I've got some that I've prepared earlier because they're quite sort of, well, not fiddly, but anyway. So basically you get your pieces of card. I've just literally got some an A4, yeah, A4 big piece of card, and then just cut down into sort of that sort of size. We're going to do the little old mouse, okay, and how they come in the packs is there's this plate which I found, just as a tip, I had printed or stamped up, sorry, the mouse one side, then the other side. I've done it on some thinner card to start with, which, okay, you could see exactly where you were doing, you know, when you were putting the other side on, which is fine, but then it was a bit flimsy. So I then used this, I think this is 300 grams, so it is quite thick. So I've used this, but what I've actually found was, after making a few, obviously it comes with little sentiments in it. Have a nice day, just to say thank you, enjoy the little things in life. So, you know, use as much or as little as you want. But what I've actually found was the easiest way was actually, yeah, to cut this part of it out first. The card that I've done for the bookmarkers is slightly wider, so I suppose maybe to make it easier, it might be better if it was cut down a little bit more. Let me just actually, no time like the present. What we're talking to be this size. So it is just that little, when I was doing earlier stuff, previous bit off there. So let's just cut this down just a little bit more. All right. So that is more or less the right size. Look like that's not cut very well, doesn't it? Hang on, let me just, if I can just going to cut this end off here, because that doesn't seem very straight. A bit wonky, doesn't it? It's better. Right, so how we're then going to do this, I'm going to use just my little tiny one. Because I've actually got, well, I've got a couple of these in different brands. This is the tiny little Sizzix, okay, and I've got a Big Shot, and I've got the Big Shot Pro, which I don't use very much, but it's handy for bits and pieces. So line this up. Let's do it this way around, because I think it's still my, okay, so that's sort of fairly, I think I know, used that one I cut down, didn't I? There we go. So that is then lined up quite nicely. If you want to have the hole in them, that's fine, and then sort of attach ribbon, because these can be literally bookmarkers, gift tags. I probably in my next video might actually use using some of these cute little things in a card. All right, so I'm going to do that like that. Then with a bit of my old cardboard, I nearly always do this with nearly everything I put through. Don't want to move at all, because if I move it, it will end up being on the hook. So wind it through. Don't have to go right down, because it's just so we're getting the actual top piece, which should be there. There we go. All right, so that's cut. Slightly missed his ear off there. So just pull that bit off, because we'll have to straighten that up a bit more. Let's get these all out of the way. Oops. Now, what I tend to then do these with, I've got a sort of selection of these little acrylic blocks, which are very good for sort of stamping up. If you've got a platform, you can do it. If you want to then do a few, you can do a few like that. So what I'm going to do, literally pop your stamp on there. These are quite new, but so the more you use them, the better they are. I know a lot of you, if you've been watching my videos, there's VersaFine pigment ink, Onyx Black. I think there's nothing better than this brand. Okay, so literally line it up. This is the way I found to do it. Okay, so that's lined up beautifully. So then, because I'm going to do the other side, this, just pop it in there, which has got embossing powder on, just regular, this brand actually, wow, embossing powder, clear gloss, fine, super fine. Go for the super fine because I just think that sort of does more fine details, full stop. The same as this. Okay, now I would turn it over literally now. Baby wipe, if you're now doing a foo, but a baby wipe is perfectly good for taking these off. There, stick that back on. Now we'd pop, hopefully that won't move, I think that should stick down. Now, back in there, turned it over, line it up as best you can. There we have, perfect. Hope it wouldn't smudge. Pop that in there again. Sorted. So, baby wipe, if you were doing loads, fine. And if you then wanted to, you could then put a little sentiment like, same principle maybe, have a mice day, which is quite cute. Let's just do that while we're doing. Obviously, you could put any sentiment you like on there. It's coated that. If you were now going to do a load, do them all to this stage, then get your heat gun out and off you go. So let's put the lid on that. So I think I've done with that for now. This is just one of them clicker boxes, although and that keeps in there lovely. So I have to show you my craft space sometimes. Not very big at all, but I've got things exactly where I am. This bit of wood here, I think, is part of a drawer, just with a bit of that plastic. I say, you know, you cook your things in the oven, a fresh piece, obviously a new piece cut off and stuck on there. It's come off a little bit now, but I tend to, it gives you some stability for what you are then embossing. So this is the magic bit. Just let it heat up just a little bit first. One side, then you've already prepared the other one. Do you know what? I think it's actually the heat's gone through from can you see the heat's actually gone through from the other side and melted that. So right, so there we have our little mouse now. And if you were now going to do a few, get a few ready, and like a bit like a conveyor belt. I then, when I've finished with them, wipe them down with a baby wipe or rinse them in your sink. And even if they stain a little bit, don't worry, they'll be fine for years. And I don't know if you know this, but the more you use them, the better they get. I don't know where the little plate's gone. That goes with this. I don't know. I do try and always put things back straight away, but I seem to have mislaid that, but that'll turn up, I'm sure. Okay, so if I just pop them there. Right, so now for the colouring purposes, obviously if you've got crayons, felt tips, watercolours, whatever you want, I'm going to do some distressed oxides. I mean, when I show you in a minute or two all the other ones I've done, you'll see the colours that I've used. I mean, these are the colours that I've got out here at the moment. So these are the colours that I've used for all the other ones I've done. So basically, these water brushes, you literally as it is, small, medium and large. I think I got them somewhere off eBay. The 3 of them, small, medium, large. And we're talking sort of £3 or £4, I believe, possibly free postage. So not very expensive. But what I then do, so if I'm now going to say do the pink for the little mice's ears, I just push that onto there, yeah, from my Distress Oxides. I'm a lucky girl because my husband over the last sort of couple of years has bought me, I think, the whole set. In actual fact, I've actually got one set that's still sitting on the side in their packaging, yet to be labelled and put in. Now, all you need to do, can you just see just a little, oh, it's gone a bit orangey. I must have had a different bit of colour in there, I think, somehow. Probably didn't wash them out properly. Probably had some brown. Doesn't really matter because pinky brown. Her little nose, his little nose, whatever. Okay. Then if I was going to use, say, this colour, easily just use, oh, look what I've just done. I'll probably have to do something with that colour now, won't I? We might get away with it. Okay. Let's just push that on there again, a bit more colour. Now, how I would colour this, I'm not an artist as such in any way. I would just do it darker at the top. And round the face. Under the chin. But can you sort of see these Distress Oxides? They react with water, so it's almost like watercolours. But you know, it's very therapeutic doing this, isn't it? There we are. I'll try and show you that close up. Can you see? Not much effort there, and it's coloured quite lovely. I did plan the ears to be a bit pinker than they are. I could just pop a little bit of this. But what I was going to say, because I've done it with the pigment ink and then done it through the clear embossing, it gives you a nice edge. Okay, so and it finishes it off quite well. So now what I want to show you is what I've then done with all the other bits and pieces. Okay, because you know, just to show you each stage, I'm trying to sort of show you each stage but in different ways. So with this, obviously I would then go ahead and colour the rest of that. If I now show you some of these that I've made earlier, there's quite a few, and these ones are done literally from some stenciling. Yeah, all those are from spit it out, Sarah. These are just using some card stock using up, as is the giraffe, and there's putting yeah, so there's a few more that I've done there. But if I just now show you how I've done this, for some reason, I don't know, it sounds strange, I always want to sort of, they look like they sort of be sitting in bed. So I'm just putting a line there and there, and so it almost looks like a sheet, doesn't it? I'm going to have to do that a colour where hopefully that'll blend quite nice. So it might have to be a darker colour. So for example, if I was now going to use this distressed oxide, say in the green, and then what have we got? There we are. There's really easy to do if you're going to do, to look, say, like a bed. Line that up. You could stick the whole thing down, but because it's such a small area to do, Ta-da! And then I want to make sure I cover that up really. So then I would line them back up. Yeah, because although this is only a little stencil, you know, you can, you know, use it in small little areas. And sometimes doing small little areas save you having to tape it all down. Line that up again. Just covered up that mark fairly, I think. Line that up. Whoops. And again. These little just finger daubers I'm using. And great. So there we have, it's almost like a little greeny bedspread. So finger daubers, they come in like boxes like this, and you sort of tend to keep them for your individual colours or colour blocks. Now I would possibly, if I was now just sitting here doing this, I would run this through in my bathroom, but something like a baby wipe will take it off perfectly easy too. Okay, and where this might now look on here, get rid of it straight away, because the next thing it'll be all over your good bits of work. So these are some different ones I've done. Like I said, he's cute, isn't he? Yeah, and it's got you're the best. This one I've just sort of finished off. Have a nice day. I haven't bothered. Oh, that one hasn't been coloured on the background because that's the one I just done, isn't it? So that's still, I better probably leave that one out to finish that off properly some other time. That's done. So what I'm then going to do with these, yeah, some I've put sayings on. If you were doing them for somebody personal, you could put their names on, you know, be inventive. Okay, I tend to just put the paper on there as opposed to on the back as well, because remember when they then sit in a book or something, you know, just say that was my book. Yeah, you know, you're just going to see the actual mouse, wouldn't you? Okay, so but to finish this off, my plan is now, I just need to heat it up, is to pop it through one of these laminators. So let me just for now plug this in. Right, which won't take long. Then I need, let's just put all these out of the way. I just think I've got a few to put through, so make sure I haven't got any tissues in here, but I just want to nothing like my cardigan, just to make sure it's nice and dry. So then I've got a laminating sheet. These actually all come from Wicks, not very expensive at all, and they can the laminating machine actually I've had for years. I think it possibly was about a tenner, and I think when I was in town a few weeks ago, I did notice they haven't really gone up in price either. So it's a laminating sheet. So all you're going to do, sorry if I apologise if I'm teaching you, you know, as they say, how to suck eggs, but it's obviously double-sided. Doesn't want to open up the edge there. Ooh, that was the sealed end. Oops. So what we're then going to do, put this where you can see them properly. I'm just going to make sure they're all done enough. Pop these. Leave a little bit of space between. You're the best. Right. Which, if you wanted to, I mean, obviously this one I've just shown you, I've got to literally paint that one. But this, remember I was saying, if I show you this was the thinner card paper I used, which is okay. But when you did the stamping of the mouse one side, you could see the other side really easily, so for lining up. But like I suggested, is using the metal to cut out, because often you would stamp both sides, then you would use the metal die to then cut out. But I actually found, after practicing, it's easier to do the other way around. But obviously try and see how you get on. But this card was much thicker, and might help if I turn on my laminate. It's not going to get very hot without it, is it? But I then like I say, this is quite flimsy, where this is quite strong. So there's where we're at. These will then sort of go through the laminator. I don't think it'll take too long, but I could show you some I did earlier. Some of them I left with the little hooks on, can you sort of see, which I'll show you in a minute. These are some I done. There's Go Wild, all stencils, all different stencils, and some people love the bright colours, some people don't. So I think, you know, if you're making them for, I don't know, maybe people to buy or something, you need to sort of look at different ideas. This one here, I don't know how well you can see, was actually the same colour that the bunny rabbit was done. And then I used one of the stencils and just did it with two, that same colour, and then with a little dauber, and then the pinky, and overlaid them. And then I dipped it into my clear embossing powder and done that. So, and you can probably still see the sheen on that. That one, my love of hearts, I just cut some hearts out and put on there. That I did a double back. So, you know, it's play, do your own thing. Again, hearts. These are what often when I cut things out and there's a load of hearts then come out of whatever, you know, the die you've cut it out of. So I'll always keep them because they'll always use for something else. That's the mice one. Have a mice day. This one, I don't know how well you can see, has actually a tiny little ribbon I put in there. I'll just show you here. I think my laminate is nearly hot enough. I weren't sure how it was going to laminate because, I mean, they're not very thick, as you can possibly see. But I stuck that down, held the heavyweight acrylic block on it for a good half an hour, I suppose. And that went through the laminator fine. So, nearly there. I think it smells hot enough, so hopefully it is. Let's now just pop. Got a hair there for some reason. Just don't. Try and keep them as lined up as you possibly can, because if not, it's going to be harder to then cut them out afterwards. You should start to see them coming through. And then all you've got to do is cut them down, if you so wish. These, you know, will cut it lovely. It cuts through laminated pouches, lovely. So then once it's done, let it dry. I mean, it's not exactly wet, but, you know, just leave it a little while. And then you then have got quite a few bookmarkers. If you're a bookworm and love, you have one for every day of the week. Or remember, you can attach these to a card, can't you? Because, you know, we make some lovely cards, and then people sort of have them hanging around for a week or two, maybe, when it's their birthday, anniversary or whatever. And then they usually go in the bin, don't they? Where sometimes to put something else in the card or on the card is like a little bit of a keepsake. So there we have. If I just turn it off, pop that out of the way. Now, just about finished, and so just let that dry. Cut them round. You can either do it with a pair of scissors and cut round sort of the basic shape. Where that's got like a hole in it, hang on, is there another one I haven't quite done? Like here we go. What I tend to do, my pokey tool, because, you know, you don't have to have everything on the market. I have got a thing in the cupboard, I think, that would put a little hole in there. But something like this, just use your pokey tool, pop that in there on a bit of foam or something, and give it a good, a bit like a bradawl really, isn't it? And then where I have a bag of all my bits and pieces, what colours have we? Pinks, purples, have we got such thing? Quite nice, yeah. So then cut a piece off, pop this through the hole, oh, it doesn't want to go. I nearly had it through, I didn't quite, so I sort of turn it around to squidge it through. Maybe a little bit of help from my pokey tool. There you go. So just pull it through with a little bit of a loop, and then tie it off. So as you can see, lots of different ideas, techniques, colours. Let me just show you as many as I can. Yeah, and okay, there's those as well, just ready to be cut out. So, oh yes, that's the backs. Quite gorgeous, aren't they? So, hope you enjoyed. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe, because I'm trying to actually do these Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays. Okay, so join me and pick up a few tips here and there. Anyway, thank you very much. Till the next time, take care.